Welcome to part 3 of my Pokemon series where we try and recreate the game Pokemon Red inside of the Construct engine. Now currently if we play this, we've got our 2 characters set up. We can change which Pokemon we're fighting. We've also got a simple menu system that allows us to click and hit enter to move back between different parts of the menu. What we want to do is work on adding a new menu today for our different move types. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is right click, insert a new object, and we're going to find a new text object. And we're going to call this moves text and just click anywhere to place it. Now this is going to be the worst bit. What we need to do is take our blue dialog box and move it down. And we can do the same with the what will you do text, our dialog text. We're going to take this text here. I recommend about a size of 20, and we can change the font if we need to. And we're going to copy and paste it 4 times. And if you try and do these in the order that we want the moves to appear in. You can also spend a bit more time on this and you can fine tune this. So for instance, I click on this one, I can see that the X is 323 and this one's 324. So if you want to get it exact, you can spend some time to make sure that's the same. So the Y 455, this one also needs to be 455. Next bit's probably the worst bit by far, is we've got to reorder this and get this back into the position it was. So you see when we place this back here, our text is now on top. We want the move text to be behind. So this is where it gets a little bit of a pain. So what we need to do is make sure we do this in the right order. So the first thing that we're going to do is right click on this text box here and send this to the top layer. We're then going to take this text and send this to the top layer. And then finally we're going to highlight all of this and now send this to the top layer. We've done this right, it means that we can now put everything back to the way it was and it's all in the right order. Probably the worst bit of today's video. Once we've got that done, we're going to create a new object, and this is going to be an array. Now if you've never used computer science or done any programming, you might not have heard of an array. It's basically just a way that we can store data in a sort of grid format. So we're going to call this moves, and this is going to add a new array called moves. Let's go to our event sheet. So we're going to use the on start of layout because it's already created and I want to save on as many different events as possible. So I'm just going to add an action underneath here. So we're going to start by going to our new array and we're going to set the size of it first. And it's going to have a height of 5. We're then going to add an action onto our moves and we're going to set X, Y. This allows us to set a value at a set position inside the array. So we're going to start at 0, 0, and this is going to be our first attack. So I'm going to go Razor Leaf, and that needs to be inside of 2 speech marks. We're then going to take this and copy and paste it, and each time what we're going to do is we're going to take the Y and we're going to add 1 to it. So now Razor Leaf, let's have our next attack be Flamethrower. Let's have our next one, and again I'm going to increase the Y by 1. And let's have this last one be Bubble Beam. And you'll notice that we get 4 moves in Pokemon, so I'm going to have 1 more. But I'm going to leave this blank to indicate that this is not a move that I currently have. So we should have 4 different moves: Razor Leaf, Flamethrower, Bubble Beam, and I'm leaving the last one blank, but you can add another move there, or you can keep some of these blank if you want to. So these are our moves set up, and as we progress further through the game, we'll be able to change these moves, and we'll also be able to adjust stuff like power level, accuracy, but that'll come further down the line. Now with that set up, we can go down to the bottom, and we're going to add a brand new event this time. So what we're going to say is system, and we're going to go to on start of layout. But this time we're going to add another condition, and this is going to be a for loop. So I recommend for each ordered. We're going to take our moves text and press done, and then we're going to add an action, and this is going to be move text, scroll down and set text, and we want the text to be different for each of the moves, and the way that we can do this is we can do moves and look for our array dots, and then we've got this at, and then we're going to take the position. So the first one is going to be 0, and the second one is going to be the loop index. Loop index means what part of that loop we're in, and we're in a loop checking for each one of these. So this will go up from 0 to 1, going through each of the different moves in our array. Best thing to do at this stage is test it. So we're going to play, hit fight, and you'll see we've got razor leaf, flamethrower, bubble beam, and blank. So that's all set up now, and we've got our 4 different moves. Now we need to get those moves to do something when we click on them. So we're going to add a brand new event. I'm going to say mouse on object clicked, and we're going to check if we've clicked on the move text. And we also need to check that we can't click on this at any point, because that text is still there at all times. Now, before we've done this by adding these functions, disabling certain collisions, actually we can do this a much more simpler way, and we can just add another condition, and we can say, is the moves box visible? If the move box is not visible, then we know that we can't click on any of the moves. So what we're going to do when we click on the text, now we can add checks to see which one we're clicking on, but this adds a lot of events. So we're going to use a really simple way to reduce how many events we've got. So this is going to take a system action, and we're going to create a signal. And this signal is going to be moves text dot text. So this is going to take whatever the text is, and it's going to send out a signal with that same string. Now what we can do is we can create a condition that waits for a signal, and that signal will be equal to the different types of text. This might be easy if I show you. So I'm going to add a brand new event, and it's going to be every tick, and we're going to use system, and we're going to use this wait for signal. Now it's really important that you get your text exactly the same. So let's take flamethrower for example. I need to make sure that's spelled exactly the same as it is in the array up here. And if you need to, easiest option is to just copy and paste this text, come down, and then paste it here so you know it's exactly the same. We'll keep flamethrower for now. So we're waiting for a signal for flamethrower before we do anything. Once we do, we can add a function, and what we're going to do is show the dialog box, and at the same time we're also going to take the dialog text, scroll down, and set that text to a nice little message like use flamethrower, and we'll close that off. So we're showing that text, and then what we can also do is we can take what we did before, and we can wait for a signal, and that signal can be enter. Enter being a signal we set before, that means wait till we press enter. And once we've pressed enter, just for now, we can actually show options again. So this is one move set up, so we're able to use flamethrower and attack again. And all we have to do now is copy and paste it for every single move that we've got. Now, every single move requires an event. So if you are on a free version, you only get up to 50 events. Obviously, trying to implement every single move, and some moves are going to require extra events, is going to be quite difficult. So for now, we'll just stick to 2 or 3 different ones. So let's get these last ones done. So if I scroll up, I'm just going to make sure I copy this text to make sure it's correct. And scroll down. So wait for signal, and in fact, let's get this one in order. Wait for signal razor leaf, and I'm going to tell it to use razor leaf. And finally, we can take our bubble beam. One thing we can do to make our lives easier is you can add things called comments. Now, comments don't do anything on their own, and they're just a bit of in-code guidance of what's going on, like so. So you might want to add a comment for each of your moves, just so you can easily find them inside your code. You can even just have a comment just to say moves, just so you know that this part of your code is all to do with moves. So that's a bit of a helpful advice. Obviously, it's your program, your code, but I find that a couple of comments here and there makes a huge difference. So now if we run this code, we've got our normal things like before, but now when we click on fight, we've got our 4 different moves. And when we click on them, we're using razor leaf, hit enter, takes us back to the menu, bubble beam, and finally flamethrower. Now, next video, we'll look at actually adding an animation. So when we do use these moves, we have an animation that happens that attacks the enemy. And we also want the enemy to have a shot at attacking us back and dealing their own damage and dealing with those health bars. So if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe and keep following for more great content. And I'll see you in the next video.